Hi, welcome to Mellow Movie Reviews, where we talk about movies. This week we reviewed The Meg, which came out in 2018.
Directed by John Turteltaub. It was based on a book, fun fact, and I read the synopsis of the book, and I have some things to say about that. It stars, I'm probably going to say a couple of these names wrong, and I'm really sorry. Jason Statham, Lee Bing, Rainn Wilson, Ruby Rose, Winston Chow, and Cliff Curtis, and also some other people, but those are like the main ones.
So before we start with our review, I have some fun movie news.
Yay!
Okay, so I found this on slashfilm.com. It's by an article by Chris Evangelista.
Evangelista?
Sure.
I think that's how you say it.
He wrote an article about a Saw reboot.
Nope, I'm out.
Wait, you haven't heard the best part.
I'm still out, but tell me.
It comes out on May 15th, and it's called The Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I feel like the Saw movies are starting to become the Friday the 13th movies, where I think like there's 15 or something of them, and at least one of them takes place in space. Like, you just get more ridiculous the more they make. Like, just stop. Like, for the love of God, please. Like, reboot it, that's fine, but just stop.
I haven't even told you the best news.
Oh my God, there's still more? Okay.
This movie stars Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, maybe I am gonna go see this movie. I feel like it's gonna be amazing or terrible or both. Much like The Meg.
Yes, I have seen Saw, the first one, the only one that What?
I've never seen any of them. I have no interest in like body horror. I can't do it. Like that much blood and gross and torture, I'm out. I can't do those. This is the kind of horror movie I like. The one that's not actually scary and also about a giant sea monster.
Well, I watched Saw for a film class and I really liked it, but
Did they assign it to you or did you just choose it?
it was a horror film class. But like I'm excited for this one because I don't know, growing up I like thrillers and horror movies, and I've never seen like people of color in them really.
That's a fair point.
And I feel as though Jordan Peele is one of the first directors to
Wait,
cast.
Jordan Peele is going to direct it?
No.
Oh.
No, Jordan Peele is one of the first directors to like put African Americans and like people of color into horror movies. Like they're the star of the movie. I don't know. I'm loving the representation because I don't know. When I was younger, it was never a diverse cast ever. And so I'm pretty excited for this movie.
I second all of that as much as I can as a white person.
But yeah, I saw the Saw reboot and I was like, no, I'm not going to see this. And then I saw starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my God. And you're like, okay, I'm back in.
Yeah. So another piece of movie news came from Collider.com, and it is an article by Adam Chipwood. And the article is titled Disney Plus Toots Whopping 26.5 million subscribers in the first 3 months.
Did you say toots?
Touts.
Touts.
Okay, Disney Plus touts whopping 26.5 million subscribers in the first 3 months.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yes, and in the article, it stated that Netflix right now has 160 million subscribers and Amazon Prime has 100 million subscribers. So that's pretty good for the first 3 months.
That's true. Also, they definitely have a lot more people using it because, oh, you can't come in right now because I'm recording, buddy. Sorry. Like all those people that are just stealing the password from their friend. Definitely not doing that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have Disney Plus and I really like it because I recently became a Star Wars fan and they're all there.
I want to watch more Star Wars. I was like pretty into it when we trash talked. Which one was it? Phantom Menace?
The second one, Clone Wars
Clone Wars.
or Attack of the Clones. I like it so far. I'm excited to see what else comes out of it. But yeah, that's all the news I have.
Okay. So I have a question for you to open this up because
Okay.
I have now seen this movie 6 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead ass. So I've been teaching a unit about sharks because obviously. And I've shown this movie to 5 different classes. So I've watched it in its entirety 5 times, and then I just watched it again last night.
Was this... Sorry.
No, you go.
Was this movie rated PG-13?
Yeah, I showed it. Well, none of my students are younger than 13. Most of my students are like 18 or older.
Because it could have been PG. Like, if they tried hard, it could have been PG, but, like, no.
I feel like I wouldn't have liked it as much if it was PG.
Good point.
I feel like they needed that 13 to, like, spice it up a bit. Okay, so before we begin, background information on me. I'm a huge nerd, and I really wanted to be a marine biologist, so I know a lot about sharks. And that's why I'm teaching my students about it. And that's why I've watched this movie so many times. So, Brianna, overall thoughts. What did you think of this movie?
I was skeptical in the beginning.
Yeah, I know you were.
But I think once I realized, like, this movie is very self-aware of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a summer popcorn flick, and once I kind of got over the first 30 minutes of harshly critiquing, like, the characters and the setting and the way the script was written, I had a pretty fun time, like, towards the end, and I loved all the action scenes, and it was just a fun movie, and I'm kind of upset I didn't see it in theaters when it came out in the summer.
Listen, we know what this movie is. We're not here for a good movie. We're here to have a good time. And this is exactly what this movie provides.
And there were parts that I was like, oh, that's a good point.
There were some like low-key social justice moments in the movie. Like they definitely called out shark fin soup at one point. Very subtly, but still.
I went to see Godzilla this summer and I like saw the ratings, and I think this movie was like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 44, and Godzilla is also a 44 on Rotten Tomatoes. But I love big monster movies, and this delivered for me. I just love giant things just fighting. And
who doesn't love a kaiju? Who doesn't love a giant fucking monster just tearing things up? That's my favorite genre of horror movies. And I absolutely blame Kathleen for that because she's super into Godzilla and she's super into King Kong, and she watches those movies all the time.
You mean your mother?
Yeah, I do mean my mother.
I was like, who's that?
That's my mom. We call her by her first name.
Yeah, I'm with your mom. Like, I love King Kong. I love Jaws. I'm loving Godzilla. Like, even though those movies are bad, they know what they are, you know? And I had a fun time at the end watching this.
Okay, I have 2 things to say. First, have you been to Kaiju, the ramen place in Amherst? Because if not, we should go next time because it's a ramen place that is themed on Japanese monster movies.
Really?
Yeah, and the food is really dope too. And they have these like really fun cocktails that are like named after different like big Japanese monster things, you would love it.
We should go for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to show Jaws originally to my kids because part of the point of this is to point out all the inaccuracies about sharks and then try to look for the accuracies. And Jaws is not very accurate, but like there's some things you can be like, hey, they did that right. So it's rated PG, first of all. It's PG. Yeah. So I'm watching it at home just to like make sure because I haven't seen it in a while. And literally the first scene is a bunch of teenagers getting drunk. And then it's implied that this one couple is running off to go skinny dipping and then have sex. And there's a scene where the girl takes her bra off and she has one of those 70s bras with no underwire. And like when she takes it off, you can like very clearly, even though it's shadowy, like see her nipples. And I was like, this is a PG movie. What was happening in the 70s?
I've seen Jaws a few times. Another fun fact about Jaws, they mentioned the college I went to.
Seriously?
Yeah, so in the movie, the cop is interviewing one of the guys that were at the beach party thing. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, what college do you go to? And he goes, Trinity College in Hartford.
And that's funny.
And we were so the first time I watched Jaws, it was in film class. And it was like 40 of us all just like silently watching Jaws. And then they mentioned Trinity College and we lost our goddamn minds.
That sounds about correct for college students.
And the teacher was smiling smugly, like, I knew you guys would like that. And it was just a fun moment. But yeah, I like Jaws. And yeah, that movie should not have been rated PG.
No, it should not have that. There's so much blood in that movie, too. And I feel like we're talking a lot about this because I feel like there's a lot of similarities between Jaws and the Meg.
Mm-hmm.
Agree, disagree.
I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
I feel like they were like seconds away from saying that at like many different points in the movie. Like, I feel like that was one of the last things to hit the cutting room floor. Like, they really tried to keep that in.
Yeah, I feel like they were just like itching. But there are a lot of shots that were similar to Jaws.
This is true.
But yeah, do you want to just dive right in?
LOL. Let's put on some scuba gear and do it.
I literally like didn't even think of that as a pun.
Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah, I just said it randomly.
Okay, let's do this. Let's dive in. How should we begin? Likes or dislikes?
Let's start with, I don't know, let's do dislikes, because I don't know, my dislike list is not that long.
I was literally just about to say that. I feel like there were not a lot of things that I disliked about this movie.
This movie, like, is aware of what it is and knows its limits and, like, not trying to be it wasn't trying to be, like, I hate movies that try to be more than they are. For example, Joker, which was a horrible movie that's nominated for 11 Oscars, and I don't know why, but this
11 movie... Oscars?
Yes, 11. So my, like, complaints, I guess, they didn't really affect me that much. But, you know, character, like, development, there wasn't really any character development except for Jonas, I guess.
Yeah. Can we maybe, like, briefly summarize this movie? Because I feel like this is not a movie that, like, everyone knows.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Okay, yeah, because I know it a lot. Obviously, spoilers. So it's this movie about a guy who works for, I could not tell if he works for the Navy or, like, some other thing, and it's whatever. Anyway, he goes on a deep sea dive to the Mariana Trench, and something attacks the submarine that he's in, with a bunch of other people, and he like has to leave 2 people behind in order to save the rest of the crew, and people get really pissed at him for it, so he like becomes a drunk. Basically, long story short, a giant megalodon shows up and a lot of events happen in order for them to stop this giant shark from eating a bunch of people. and then they kill it, but oh no, there's a second shark, and then they have to do a bunch of shit to kill that one. Watch the movie. It's a fun time.
Yes, that's basically the whole movie. And it was so, like, the character development, Jonas, like, he's the main guy, kind of lacking, but I really liked him.
I feel
Um,
like they didn't even like I definitely agree with that, but I feel like they knew that they didn't really have the time or like it wasn't a character movie. This is like you said, it's like a fun summer popcorn movie.
mhm.
And like this is I'm not going into this to think about people. I'm going into this to see a 75-foot CGI shark on a giant screen.
Yeah, and I thought, like, some of the dialogue was weak. And
Oh, for sure.
sorry.
For sure. There were some really flat jokes.
There are flat jokes, like some exposition points were just, I hate exposition in, like,
So boring.
yeah, I just hate when they're just explaining things that, I don't know, could be told in a cooler way. But besides that, I was kind of, I kind of just let go and just had fun while watching this. I don't know. It was really hard to critique because the characters were, like, all really likable.
That's so true.
And I thought that I would be annoyed by the little girl, but she was so cute.
I loved her. She was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Mei Ling, I think is her name. Maylin. Okay, she so adorable. But yeah, I honestly, like, didn't write anything bad. I these movies are hard. Like, everyone kind of tries to copy Jaws, and that movie is kind of like the staple for, like, what a shark movie. And I don't know. It was just fun to just watch. I don't know.
I agree. And I feel like I absolutely agree with you. This movie knows what it is. And I feel like in order to enjoy this movie, you also have to know what this movie is. This is not a thinker. This is not an amazing plot movie. This is not an amazing character movie. This is a movie that's here to entertain you, and that's it. And I feel like sometimes that's all you need. Like, you've had a rough day, you don't want to deal with anything. I want to watch a movie where I don't have to think about it. I can
Yeah.
just relax and watch a shark.
Yeah, like, this is a movie I won't go back and see. Oh my god, like like little Easter eggs. It's just straight. And I like that the script was just simple. It's just so simple. It was very predictable. Like, I knew kind of everything that was going to happen
Yeah.
from beginning to end, which was fine. But I feel as though the best parts about this movie were the action scenes.
I 100% agree with that. Though, to speak to your point before that, I called like 90% of this movie, but they did get me with the second shark reveal. I was like so engrossed in the movie. This is a very short movie. I'm pretty sure it's like only 90 minutes to an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, it is short.
But like I was not even cognizant of how far into the movie we were. So I was like, oh my God, this is it. And then that like relief was like so tangible for that like 1 second before the second shark jumps out.
So, one of my favorite parts of this whole movie is when I forgot the woman. She's in, like, that plastic cage.
Yuyin?
Yes. She's in that plastic cage and the bait drops down and she's just surrounded by sharks eating the bait. And then that same concept is brought back later at the end when Jonas, like, blinds the shark and kills it, and it's when all of the other sharks come and, like, eat it up.
Can I just tell you, I loved that shot, but also every time I watch that, I'm like, ooh, it's the Aquaman poster.
Oh no. Did we see Aquaman together?
We might have. I can't remember.
I don't know. This is, like, what this movie, The Meg, is. It's kind of hard to talk about because it was so, like, straightforward. You knew it was gonna happen, and I kind of, like, want more movies to be self-aware like this.
It was funny. Like, I felt like there were moments where it was like self-aware enough to like make fun of itself a little bit. And I don't know, it wasn't like that was part of the joke. Like, I feel like sometimes there's those movies that like know they're bad movies, so they like intentionally break the fourth wall all the time, and it's like, okay, you've made it worse. But I feel like this one, like, less so. No one broke the fourth wall. It was great.
Yeah, I really just have my notes are just like plot points so I could like follow along. I my favorite character was the little girl and Jonas and their relationship. It was so cute.
I like that they like actually incorporated the child into the plot, because I felt like I was so nervous that they were going to introduce her only to have her die at the end. And like
Hmm.
the fact that she actually like did things and knew things, like in that scene where she and DJ have like fallen off the boat at this at like the very end, and he's like splashing around. She's like, "You have a life jacket on." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." And she's like, "Shut up."
Yeah, I like that too. And I don't know, I love that we're introduced. We're not introduced by her in the ship, are we? With Jonas, like you know how Jonas gets in the ship and then he realizes that she's there.
No, because they have that moment with Suyin and Meilin when she says goodbye to her before she goes down to try to rescue the submarine.
Okay. Oh yeah. I don't know. That whole character was handled really well because I feel as though sometimes in Hollywood, like they put little kids in movies, and if you give kids good dialogue, they will deliver.
I have two major complaints about this movie.
Okay, what
Uh,
are
Here is the first, and like this thing bothered me the most. Okay, there's a character in this movie called The Wall. It is never explained. They never even address it. Like, even when Jonas, who has like not been introduced to this person before, meets him and accepts immediately that his name is The Wall. That's like a Game of Thrones sounding name. I would absolutely like an explanation for that. And that was one of the things I was looking for in the book, because I was like, surely a character named like this must have a backstory. He wasn't even in the book. They created that character.
I disagree. So when I was watching this, and he like they referred to him as the Wall,
Yeah.
I just concocted like a fan fiction story about his character. And maybe that name has some sort of trauma or some sort of heroic or comedic, I don't know, meaning behind it. So I just interpreted it as that and just let it slide. And but I totally, totally get your point, and I knew that you did not like The Wall. You mentioned to me there's a character
I
called
love
The Wall, and it's ridiculous, and it is ridiculous, but I like to think because of the setting that they're in, like isolated out on sea, there was a grander story to that just couldn't be told, and that was kept
no, but
secret.
that's what I'm saying. Is I would have loved, even if they were just like, oh yeah, we call him the Wall because one time he ran into a wall. Like like just that, and I would have been fine.
Mm,
Second major complaint with this movie.
yeah.
Another thing I found out when I looked in the book, the sharks are supposed to be white. And how fucking badass would that have looked?
Ooh, that would have been really cool.
That's what I'm saying. And it's supposed to be, and this makes sense because this is true of a lot of creatures that far down in the ocean, is that it wouldn't have pigment because there's no sunlight down there.
Oh, ooh, that's smart.
Yeah, that's just some marine biological tea right
I
there.
love that. Spill that marine tea.
Yeah. Ooh, do you want to hear a fun fact, a fun shark fact?
Yes.
You're more likely to die from a coconut falling on your head than to be attacked and killed by a shark.
Wow. That
Yeah.
scares me because I've had a lot of concussions.
That's so true. Oh my god.
I thought that the little girl was given the best dialogue in the movie.
100% she was.
Another thing I really, really liked. So Jonas has his ex-wife on board, and
I feel like I know exactly what you're gonna say, and I 100% agree.
they don't
Keep going.
hate each other. They're just respectful, and I think that's really cool to see.
Okay, that's not what I thought you were gonna say, but I 100% agree. She even like encourages him to go after Suyin towards the end of the movie.
And that is called a mature ass woman.
That's what I'm saying. That's a boss ass bitch. This movie passes the Bechdel test. I don't know how to say that name, but you know what I mean. I looked it up.
Mm-hmm. I just thought that was refreshing to see because I thought like, oh no, are they gonna like fight and then like decide not to get divorced again or something? I don't know. And that, I mean, decide to get back together, but it was like, no, they tried it for a year. It didn't work out. They're like in the same line of business. And it was just refreshing to see that like a couple that were previously together, like had mutual respect for one another.
That's true. And like on the flip side of that, I felt like the relationship between Jonas and Suyin was developed very like realistically. Like it was very subtle and it was pretty clear the entire movie that like they were into each other, but it wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. And then like at the end, I kind of liked that they never kiss. I feel like that was like they knew each other for 2 days.
Oh, that's smart. I forgot that they didn't kiss. That romance is actually the whole romance thing. I was never annoyed, and they had chemistry.
No, that's what I'm saying. And it was so pure. Like, and it was such a like obviously I don't know because I don't have a child or have ever dated anyone with a child, but I felt like it was appropriate and like realistic of a relationship where there's a child involved where it's like can't go crazy fast. Mm-hmm. And like we have to deal with the kid because I feel like he developed a relationship with Maylin before he like actively was pushed towards Suyin.
Yes. That's very true. They're so cute. And she's like, my mom likes you.
Oh my God. I just feel like I imagine him being like a very amazing dad to her.
Yes, I felt that. Their dynamic was just great. Can we talk about Dwight?
Go.
What's his name in the movie? So I thought Rainn Wilson was casted. Like if I like he sounds like Dwight, obviously, because it's the same person.
Yeah.
But I felt like I believe that he would be like a billionaire.
He seems to me like one of those, his name is Morris in the movie. He seems to me like one of those like Silicon Valley startup assholes who just like made a bunch of money and is now like wasting it on a childhood fantasy. And the concept of Mana 1 is an amazing one. But what ended up happening was a disaster.
Yeah, I imagined him as like a huge nerd who then went to Silicon Valley and was a huge nerd, and then his friends were like, "Hey, like switch up your style." And he was like, "Okay, but I'm still going to be a nerd." That's like kind of what I felt.
I imagine that he sold an app that tells you like I feel like, you know, you might not know this. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has like an app where you can look up which fish are like safe to eat based on like population and like ecological impact. Mm-hmm. Like he like took that and developed something better and a little bit crazier and then was like, all right, I made $1 gajillion. Now I'm going to turn an oil rig into an underwater crazy marine biology thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know I liked his character. I thought my complaint about his character is he was taken out in the most lame way ever.
I wanted him to have a better death. I like wanted him to fall out of a helicopter while they were dropping the bombs and like he accidentally gets exploded with the Meg or something.
I thought the shark was gonna jump up from out of the water and just bite the helicopter and then go down.
That would have been great. I would have liked that.
I thought something like that would happen.
No, I 100% agree. I feel like especially because they made him like a secondary villain towards the end.
Yeah.
That he should have better death. It was a cop out. I feel like they were like, we're running out of time and we need to kill this guy.
Yeah, so the first time the Meg comes at him, he's like against the whale. So like the Meg bites at the whale and then comes back and like eats him. Is that how he dies?
Yeah, it like disappears for a second and there's that like moment of breath where you're like, okay, he's fine, and then it comes back.
I was like, who's gonna find him out there? And it sucks he fell off the boat. That's so annoying.
That's the other thing, is it's like I didn't want him to die by accident. I wanted that shark to like come at him on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think I feel so, one of the best deaths of like a huge animal and a person I've seen is in Jurassic Park, the newest one.
Jurassic World?
Yeah. So you remember like the secretary assistant gets like eaten by that thing in the tank? Like
I liked that.
Yeah, like that is like a momentous death that I thought that Morris, is that his name?
Yeah.
Should have had, but it really didn't. I also liked that there were like 3 action scenes right in a row, because that literally didn't take me out of the movie at all. I stopped writing notes. It's when Jonas shoots the thing with the tracker, and then the woman is in the cage, the plastic cage. I was like, Ruby Rose, this is definitely not a good idea.
No, actually, that's a thing. They're called ghost cages.
It was so scary when it started swallowing it.
That was actually one of my complaints about the movie, is I felt like they upped the ante too many times, a couple of places. I enjoyed that sequence that you're talking about, but I felt like I was really annoyed towards the end when those helicopters crashed and took out their like safety boat. I was like, okay, we should be finished by now.
I think that just like this movie made me think, like, if I was in this situation, what could I have done differently?
I feel like I would outlive you by maybe a minute because I know how to scuba dive.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to scuba dive. I thought that it was interesting. I think the whole idea of like the Meg being released, like coming up to the surface, was interesting too.
Let me tell you, I can't even believe how many times my students asked me, Miss, is a megalodon, do they still exist? No. Yes, but what about, they live down in the Mariana Trench? No, they do not. But you said we've only explored 3% of the ocean. Listen, bro.
I hate exposition, but I do like knowing like the history of stuff, and I think it's cool that they talked about it. Is it accurate? Is that this little speech they gave in the beginning about the Meg, was it like accurate?
The one where I hate that they call it the Meg.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't remember exactly what she says, but I feel like I was listening to it and I was like, this feels pretty legit. They can grow up to, I think, 60 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
And their teeth are huge. They always have 5 rows of teeth or more at once in their mouth, because that's a thing sharks do, is they have more than 1 row of teeth in their mouth.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, it's because they take really big bites of animals because they don't chew. They just take a huge bite and swallow. And so they lose a lot of teeth. So when they need a new tooth, they just push another one forward. They lose about 10,000 teeth in their lifetimes.
Wow. That sounds awful.
I mean, they don't really feel it, I feel like. Maybe they do.
I
imagine it's much like how we lose teeth, where it's like loose and then it just kind of like comes out.
It's scary. I'm trying to see. I wrote notes on 3 different sources of things because I just had a crazy day today.
Oh my god, I like that you cited your sources at the beginning when you were giving them movie news. You can tell we were both English majors in college.
Well, okay, can I tell you? Actually, no, I'm not going to tell you about a citing source drama that happened to me senior year.
Can I tell you, I wanted to use a tweet in my thesis paper, and there's an actual MLA format for how to put a tweet into MLA's formatted paper.
That is crazy.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, citing sources is crazy. Can we talk about the beach scene? Okay, well, the little boy was so adorable, and I love that after, like, the shark was reeled away, he took a bite of his popsicle.
Oh my god. Him in that beach chilling out in his little floaty with his popsicle is like life goals.
Yeah, I like that little tidbit that they added. And I love the dog.
And the fact that it lives, I was so ready for that dog to die, but then it came back.
I think it was lived because it was so little.
No, I think that's what it was. Because, like, when it turns around and it's so slow because it's got the tiny little legs.
Also, I love how, like, so they're taking the wedding photos and the dog, I thought the dog, like, wanted to swim with everyone, but it literally, like, is trying to get away. Like, I hate this place.
Can you imagine that, like, being the dog of that girl, though? Like, as soon as her friends jumped in the water, she was like, "You're ruining my wedding."
And then I love that. I thought that was a very fun. It was a very cute moment. The little kid and the dog.
Oh, you know, another one I loved. Two other ones I loved from that was, you know, when I actually really enjoyed a lot of the shots in that section with, like, the shark swimming under people, and I thought that was a good way to convey the size. But, like, I loved when you first see the shark around, and then, like, there's those boys on the, like, floating platform, and they're like, "Oh my god, look!" And then it's like hot girls, and it's like a like turn away, but then that actually ends up being, like, the first thing the shark attacks.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Like, I liked that they were on rafts. Like, there's a raft and it crashed into another raft, and then there are 3 different rafts, and people were trying to climb on the raft, so it was very chaotic. Very callback to Jaws. Like,
I agree.
And I'm kind of glad they did it. I love a good tension. You know, I knew what was gonna happen. I'm glad that the boy didn't die, the little boy, because
I also thought that was a good callback to Jaws, because that is a scene that happens, except the boy dies.
And I'm glad they did not do that. Yeah, so this movie is self-aware. Like, it wasn't gonna copy Jaws. There are just some similar elements.
I feel like they, like, really would not kill a child.
No.
Like, I feel like this movie would never kill a child. Ooh, there's gonna be a sequel. That was the movie news I had.
Oh, yay! I was gonna ask, because it definitely could be a sequel.
You know how it ends with Finn? I really wanted them to do Finn ?
Oh.
It's super cheesy, but I thought that would be hilarious. Yeah, it's supposed to come out this year. I'm not sure when,
Katie,
though.
we are going to the midnight premiere.
This is, like, my last thing that I really enjoyed. You know that guy in the big plastic bubble?
Oh, that was such a good death.
I also, like, I thought it was so good, too, because he was being such an asshole. He was, like, literally running over people while he was, like, trying to play in his little plastic bubble. And then, like, while he's trying to run to the beach, he's, like, low-key drowning other people trying to run on top. And then the shark eats him, and it pops the bubble, and it was great. I loved that.
Yeah, I like the audible pop it made. That was cool.
Yeah.
I thought at the very end, when they panned down, I thought the Meg was still going to be there. Like, there's an even bigger shark, or that wasn't even the shark they captured.
I really, really wanted to see that, too. I thought we should have at least seen, like, an actual shark fin or something like that. A fun fact I looked up, apparently the dorsal fin, the one on top of the Meg in the movie, is scaled to be 8 feet tall.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think that the next movie, well, did they establish that it's a female shark?
I'm gonna say yes, because females are usually larger than males. The book ends with the shark having babies.
I think the next movie is gonna be babies and a lot of babies, and then yeah. But I'm excited for this one. I'm glad that it's getting a sequel. I never say that ever.
I know. And it's like, I know the movie's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a bad movie, but I also know I'm gonna have a good
But
time.
what if they surprise us?
Oh, I would love for them to surprise us. I'm just saying, realistically, this is a sequel of an already kind of mediocre movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot they can do with that.
No, but they can't bring Dwight back. I don't have much else to say, but like if you are chilling and it's a Saturday afternoon and you haven't 90 minutes to 2 hours to spare, like watch this movie. It's fun.
It is a really fun movie.
And you don't have to think. Like I was having like a lot of anxiety today, and watching this kind of took it away because I didn't really have to think, and it was nice and light. So yeah, I like this movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a low-key therapeutic movie. You get to turn your brain off for like 90 minutes to 2 hours, however long
It just
is.
knows what it is.
It does. And that is the strongest point of that movie.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening in. Bye.
Bye.